Hey everyone, this is Sam from Warhammer Online, and today I'm going to be showing you how to paint black armour. It's another version of painting black armour, and there's many ways to do this. This is just one of the variants that I've chosen to try for my Black Dragon army. So the spinny model you see here is the finished model. There is a video on the website wargameronline.com. It's only accessible for premium subscription members, but that's only £2.99 a month, and it gives you access to longer tutorials as well as extra battle reports and other bits and pieces. But today this will be the video showing you how I've specifically painted the black itself. I will be doing another video on using grey instead of the blues that I've done, but hopefully this will help you with your own models. So starting out, this whole model has been primed with Chaos Black from Games Workshop, and we're using Dark Reaper for our first edge highlight on all of the armour. Now, mixing this, you're going to need to mix it at least 50-50 with water or medium, whichever is your preferred method, and use very small thin brush strokes as well. And you can see I'm just going to build this up. I'm going to be painting over the same sort of edges over and over again, like 3 or 4 times sometimes, and just building up the colour gradually rather than doing a really thick colour. And some of these lines are also quite thick, and we're going to go back and tidy them up later on with Chaos Black again. The other thing that's quite different with this is normally if you spray your model with Chaos Black and then you paint your model with Abaddon Black, they are two very different blacks. So what I've done is I've found some of the older Games Workshop paints, which is Chaos Black, in one of the older pots, so that it's an exact colour match. So for me, if I make any of these mistakes or I need to neaten up these lines, I can easily just use the Chaos Black from the pot. I don't need to spray this model with a Chaos Black can and then go over the entire model in Abaddon Black. So just make sure whichever black you're going to be using for your primer, you will be using the same colour for your neatening up again. And that's quite important, otherwise you'll get different shades and blobs on your models that won't really look right. So if you are going to be doing exactly the same as me, and I would recommend it just because it speeds up the process, you don't need to spray the model with a Chaos Black and then paint the entire thing with Abaddon Black. Go on eBay or go on Amazon or ask any of your old hobby friends or groups or clubs if they've got the older Chaos Black in a pot available, and that way it saves you going back over and repainting the entire thing before you do all of this edge highlighting. And that's pretty much it. Go around the entire model. There's a lot of armour plates on these Marines, and the Primaris Marines in particular have got some extra new joints and parts of armour that need edge highlighting, and just take your time. It definitely is the longest part of this model, going around and edge highlighting it, which is why I've tried to make the rest of it so simple and straightforward, and make sure that this armour looks right, as the majority of the model is this. Once you've done the first edge highlight, we're going to use Thunderhawk Blue and go over all of the armour joints once again with this colour instead, but we're going to leave some of the previous Reaper in place and just kind of pick out the more prominent edges, but I'm pretty much covering most of it. So later on, once this has been done, we're going to add a white dot to every single corner, or as many corners as we think it needs, to make the armour pop, and from the battlefield it really does stand out, and you don't necessarily realise until you say there's been some dots painted on that, and then you suddenly realise that it looks like a Christmas tree, as Mike keeps telling me. So yeah, you can skip the dot stage or you can add it, it's completely up to you. It's one of those preference things again. Now, like I said before, it says Abaddon Black here in the top left, but it is Chaos Black that I'm using. So whichever black you've used for your primer, use the same one to tidy up here. I'm just going to go around some of these edges that aren't necessarily as neat and just make them look a little bit straighter. And that's the first part of the armour done. The final part is adding these white dots. So I'm using Purity White from Scale 75. You can use any white available. Just make sure the paint's thin so you can put these dots on quite neat and evenly. You don't want to do lines, it has to be a little dot. And all I'm doing is picking out each corner where the light will directly hit, so that it almost looks like it's reflecting. It's nothing too scientific. I'm literally just chucking a dot on each corner and hoping that it stands out. And I probably did go overboard in the end, but I quite like the result, and from the tabletop they definitely do look, it looks like armour. We're not going to do this technique on many other areas. I'm only using it where I want it to look like a piece of armour. Now that's as much as the armour needs. It is quite time consuming going around doing it this way. You can dry brush, so if you use the same colours that I've used but dry brush onto the armour, it will look the same in the end. It just won't look as neat as doing the edge highlights, but it would probably look more realistic than this very cartoony edge highlight that I've painted this model up in. It just depends on your preference. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it has helped. As I said at the beginning of the video, the full model tutorial is on the website wargameronline.com, but it is accessible only if you have a premium subscription membership. So thank you to everybody who does have one of those memberships. It is the best way to support us and continue producing videos that we are doing. And see you next time. Have a good one.